69 years ago, about, what is this? This is just a little past March. We were married in March, 31st of March. But we stayed the night before with Aunt Nina and Uncle Harold. And I can remember we got up the next morning and we're on our way to the temple, and we'd forgotten our license, and so we had to go back and redo it. You know how crazy young couples are. But as we were headed for the temple, I'll never forget Aunt Nina turning to me and saying, "You're a Nixon now, Loretta. So just, that's it, you're a Nixon." And I wasn't too happy. But after all these years, I'm proud to be able to be called a Nixon. And another thing I remember is Aunt Ollie's wonderful vanilla ice cream. Oh, it was heaven. And someone has it somewhere. Someone should publish it because it was so good. And I just have, I became very close to Aunt Grace. And I grew to love her very dearly. And I looked at her, I found her to be very generous and very good to her family. Even though she worked so hard with her teaching, but she was very giving and just a wonderful person. I just loved her dearly. And Uncle Jess, we had the opportunity of when they would come to Utah, they would come and stay with us. And I have fond memories of Uncle Jess and Aunt Mildred. And then Uncle Ezra, he was part of our life when we were first married. Richard came off his mission as a struggling ex-missionary trying to get an education. And finally he realized that he had to have transportation. So what did he do? He went out to Roosevelt, and Uncle Ezra sold him a car for, I guess, much less than what it was worth. Or no, that doesn't sound right. But anyway, it put us in debt $225. And we tried to pay the payments on it, and then after about 2 or 3 years, he forgave our debt. So Uncle Ez, I think a lot of him as well. So I've had a lot of interactivity with these wonderful people. I never knew James W. Nixon II, but it's been a real pleasure to read about him and read about his experiences. I think you're going to find this book. This book that you've purchased is mostly his diary, his own diary, where we've added pictures to make it more interesting. But you'll find in these experiences, J.W. Nixon was a very spiritual man, and he had many spiritual experiences that I think it would be wonderful for you to relay to your family. He had the gift of healing, went on his mission. I'm just going to tell you this one experience. He went on his mission to the California mission in 1896. And there was a man that had come in from New York, I believe it was New York, by the name of Mr. St. Clair. And they came into the office and they said, "This man wants to be taught." And the mission president kind of set it aside for some reason, but J.W. was quite insistent that someone go and teach him. And so the mission president gave him an assignment, and when he knocked on the door of where this man lived, he was in a meeting, and he ushered everybody out because he wanted to talk to J.W., Elder Nixon, I should say. So he did, and he found out that this man had had a dream when he was back in New York. and he dreamed of James W. Nixon, and he was in his dream, and the Lord told him that he was to go west, and I guess to find truth, I think is how he puts it in his journal. So be sure to get into the book and read about your ancestor having been in a dream of Dr. St. Clair, and then he was able to baptize him. And I had been trying to find if he had any descendants as Dr. St. Clair. I hadn't been able to, but I found the missionary journal of his mission president, and I found out his first name was, I think it was Harry St. Clair. So I'm going to see what I can do to find those descendants, if there are any. And then another experience that your ancestor had was when he was just 16 years old, just after his father died. He became what they call a pony male. It wasn't the
Pony Express.
The Pony Express. It was just called the Pony Mail. The man that he had worked for at near St. George. You'll have to forgive me, my mind isn't what it used to be. But so he went working on this Pony Mail, and he would, 16 years old, he'd take a mule and go from well, it's near. I'm sorry. It's down by on the Milwaukee, by near Arizona, is where, and it was underwater after the dam was put in. But he went from there all the way down almost to Kingston, visiting these mining camps, taking their mail. And here, so I guess this is why he had to take a shotgun, not a shotgun with him, but a pistol with him to protect him. Those experiences are in his diary, and so you must, for family night, read some of these experiences to your children and grandchildren. I have felt it a privilege to be able to do the genealogy research. I've had many spiritual experiences finding J.W. Nixon's the first siblings by William Abraham Nixon and Bridget Deacon, those children. He had a sister Catherine and sister Matilda and a sister Jenny and a brother William A. Nixon, but he went by Billy. I'll have to quickly tell you about Billy. Billy was in the Civil War, and I don't know if any of you are Civil War buffs, but at the Battle of Gettysburg, he was part of Pickett's charge. And when we went to Minnesota to find his ancestors, why, we went to the cemetery, and here was this huge tombstone, and on the top was the history of the First Minnesota Company, and they were the first to join when the Civil War was first broken out. So all these things are something that will be of value to your children and grandchildren, knowing their faithfulness. And I've got a lot to tell you about James II, but I won't take that exam. Is that tomorrow?
We'll do that tomorrow, yeah.